Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of NFtwins. Today we're going to talk about hard work is overrated or is leverage just underrated, and why everybody might just be optimizing the wrong thing.
I mean, effort is not impressive. Results are.
All right, I think that's a lot of people confuse exhaustion with progress. So the thing is, if you ask somebody, hey, how's work going? Or they say, oh man, I worked so many hours. I'm like, it's like what is it called? The hustle porn, basically. I mean, in the
Who
end,
hasn't done it? Who hasn't done
exactly. I mean, we fall in this category as well, right? 'Cause it's like we working a lot of hours, but sometimes like
the classic? Oh yeah, I worked 70 hours. No, I worked 75 hours.
yeah, especially if you look at
I mean, it is impressive though.
No, I mean that's the thing. I mean, let me think about the other day I had a podcast of My First Million, and they were talking about that basically work is like gas. It always fills up the space you give it. So basically when you should always like first focus on the main goals you want to achieve in the year, because it was a yearly review. So I want to learn these skills. I want to do these trips. And then once you have all your goals set up, the rest will automatically be filled with work. Because if you say, hey, I have 3 hours for this task, you will do it in 3 hours. But if you give it like a few days, it fills up the entire time. I mean, who hasn't done that, right? Writing a document or like a deadline, you press everything till the last minute and then like trying to finish everything. Okay, but coming back to the part of effort is not impressive, results are. I think that's one of the most important aspects in the work field for where you actually like have to think a lot and use your computer. Because for example, if you're working in a factory, this is like in the end, like you work these hours, you get this much done. But if you were on the computer, you sometimes have these moments where you're like super, super focused. And then other times, man, you're just staring at the screen. Might be easy to just go for a walk.
So guys, who do you know that works insanely hard but isn't going anywhere? Maybe tell this guy or girl, hey buddy, hard work without leverage is just a lifestyle choice.
I mean, in general, effort doesn't scale, but
let's put it this way. Effort can scale. The thing is, if you have to use tools to use leverage, right? There's the whole like Naval, Ravikant. He says that there's different types of leverage, people, technology. What are the other things? Money. So that can scale that way. But if you don't do it or you work on the wrong thing, it's just not going to work.
Also,
actually leads us also to the next thing, no?
Yeah, which one?
Founders optimize tools and not leverage.
Man.
So most founders don't need better tools. They just need leverage. So at the end of the day, what the point is that founders are like switching CRMs. Oh, I'm going using HubSpot. And now, you know what? I found one that's 20% cheaper. I'm going to use that. But at the end of the day, they're not even reaching out to any clients.
Or in general, oh man, look at this. This is a super cool tool which like optimize my app or find the right users, instead of actually going out and talking to the users right now, right? Because like people are just building more features. I mean, we see it ourselves, right? So for example, for our latest project Hook Talk, there was in the first month, we literally just like building so many features. And now we're in that phase again of just reducing everything because we're going niche down. So we're niching everything down. And now we literally out of the UI, it's like throwing so many like tabs out because we don't need these features, especially going in the beauty niche. So these are things and now we start talking to like users directly, like be one-on-one with them, be like, okay, what is your problem? Like, is it usable? Because that's a thing, right? If you are designing a product as a techie and your user is a non-techie, like this will not work if you believe they have the same like knowledge on how to use these tools.
This just reminds me of when we went to Startup Bootcamp, which is an accelerator here in Europe. And they got us you get all these benefits. For example, you get free HubSpot for a year or something. We're like, oh yeah, we got to use it. End of the day, fuck it. Just use an Excel spreadsheet. Most of the stuff you don't need it unless you have a really, really big team. So for startups, most tools are unnecessary unless they're actually getting you to some space. Like, and like all these kind of CRM models, just use an Excel spreadsheet. You're gonna be fine.
And I mean,
Or Google Sheets. We use Google Sheets.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Google Sheets is so much easier. Everybody can access it. You can even have that with your Google Suite, right? So everybody has
on the
access
phone.
to it.
It's just nice.
In general, I mean, look, we used it also for our previous startups. So just reaching out to influencers or like websites where we want to get listed. It's just so much easier. Just track it there. Just make sure you have a simple way, so you don't have like super complicated spreadsheets, because it should be simple. In the end, it's just a way to track. And in the end, what's most important is reaching out to the users. Okay, Mark.
So one of the key things I think that you guys should be focusing on is, what's the ugliest but highest leverage thing that you're avoiding?
Okay, Mark, this is also a question we can answer ourselves, right? So what is the ugliest thing would we actually avoiding? I would definitely say go out and talking to users, especially the.
Well, you're not avoiding that. You're doing that.
Yes, I'm doing it, but at the same time, you have to do it like a lot, especially when you're building or when you're close to having the product, the first MVP. You need to go to the user and like also just let's say like, hey, because you want to protect your little ugly duckling, but in the end, you have to say like, hey, are you willing to pay for this? Are you willing? Like, for example, yesterday, I was sending some basically B-roll that we're generating with Hook Talk for the beauty niche. I was sending to a friend of us, and in the end,
she's in that niche.
Yeah, she's in the beauty niche. So as potential first customer, and I had to ask her like, it felt like weird to text like, hey, like, because she's like, yeah, the video's okay. I'm like, but okay, would you post this on your Instagram account? Like,
because the idea is that these videos will be generating social content. So
exactly.
On our platform, you will create social content and ads for your Instagram.
One of the biggest issues in the beauty niche is that most of their customers come from social media. But if you don't run your social media with constant posting, as well as generating different types of contents, people will not share your content. Because if you look at, for example, the people that you follow, they most of the time just post before and afters. These before and afters maybe get like 5 or 10 likes, whatever. But that's not what people share. People share content that makes them look funny, intelligent, or in general,
makes
tips.
People connect with you, right?
Yeah.
There's one thing. Okay, you need to be able to do what you say you do. That's just the standard. And then afterwards, you connect also with the person.
I would categorize it in two different camps. So on the one side, you have content that is shareable. So that's like making you look good. So for example, what you share. So I share something, a motivational video, something like this. But on the other side, how you connect with the people is actually with the avatar. So basically, if you have the person who will do the work. So for example, is it the beauty professional is directly talking to the camera, and that's also what like we're solving, right? Because in the end, a lot of people who are shy, who are like camera shy. I mean, who hasn't tried to record something and then had to record it 10 or 20 times? Then it might not even be in your language. For example, here in Barcelona, we have a lot of Latinos or Latinas in this case who might like they're from Brazil, so they don't speak well Spanish, so they need to basically
or Catalan, because some of the users here are Catalan, right?
Exactly. So an AI can help there a lot. So basically, you just record it or type it in your native tongue. You clone your voice, and then you can just make it in your native language, or well, in Spanish. I change it to Spanish or whatever language you want to create that reel. So I think that's one of the most important parts.
Look, so we did this. So the next thing is, if you have a product, you already talked to users, distribution is a leverage problem. If nobody sees this, it doesn't exist. I mean, in this podcast, we always say, or in general, distribution is king.
Yes. And now I want to go more into detail, because if you think about distribution, there's 2 points. You can see, hey, views matter. And the other thing is like, you can say, hey, views don't matter if nobody converts. Because you can ask yourself the question, what do you rather have? 10,000 views or 10 sales?
10 sales.
Exactly. So that's the thing. So it's always, in the end, the view or the distribution is only a vehicle to actually get people to in your funnel and actually start buying your product.
I mean, there's great examples of like how bad products that won because of distribution versus good ones that didn't. It's like DVD versus Blu-ray.
Okay, but that was because of porn.
But there's still distribution. End of the day, they made it big. It's the types of how distribution was the smart distribution channel, that early adopter, and then they won, right? The DVD HD, I think it was called, or something like that.
HDD, high definition disc,
yeah,
HDD.
I don't know, whatever it was called. So it happens, right? These are the things that people need to consider, and it's super important. So you don't need more features. You just need a channel to compensate that. Also, we always say that dominate one channel.
In
Don't do
general,
10.
it compounds. You look at all. I mean, for example, we love listening to Chris Williams, so Modern Wisdom, and if you like for multiple years now, and you just see his growth. So like at the beginning, it was just like okay, 10,000, 50,000, and then it just scaled like 100,000, and in a year, just 10x to a million or more. So that's like a thing, and now he's over 3 million something like this subscribers. So that's the thing. It's the same with it's leveraging, it's compounding, because once it's more and more people pick it up, they might talk to it to other people, etc. So it's like very important to just like master one niche, and then you can just like expand. It doesn't matter whether it's just like distribution or well, for creating a business or actually just like selling your service.
I mean, I think in general, also another thing that creators confuse consistency with leverage. What I mean by that is posting more won't save from unclear thinking. So you need to be positioning into one specific niche or angle, who your brand is, and then go from there.
I mean, I can bring it back now to the beauty niche. So if you post every day just before and afters, they all basically look the same, but there might not be real content strategy behind it. So what is more important than there is to have like also more posts about infographics or tips that people can share. And that not only goes to like beauty niche, it goes to everything.
I mean, it's like, again, like you can improve that by getting feedback from your customers or ideal customers. Then the good question to ask the customers, can the customer tell you what you're doing based on a single post? Because if it's not clear enough from a single post, no one has a business that's that complicated.
And that reminds me of you always like think that, oh man, I already said that multiple times. For example, might be also with employees that you have, like with your mission, company mission, etc. But man, you have to repeat things 1,000 times. If you think you're sick of hearing it, it's not the case. Same with like ads, etc. Because you think, man, I've been running these ads for a long time. Like, I'm sure they're sick of it. No. But the thing is, there's so much noise out there. So people
haven't seen it the first 2 or 3 times.
And they need to see it multiple times, like tens of times till actually the message sticks.
But ad fatigue is real, guys.
No,
it's just usually slower than you think.
But I'm also referring to within a company. Like, for example, when was it? NASA back in the day when they brought the first man to the moon, right? You asked the janitor and asked him, "Hey, like, what are you doing here?" And I'm not cleaning. No, he didn't say I'm cleaning the bathrooms. He said I'm helping to bring the first man onto the moon. And I think that's like nice. That's very, very cool, because it shows that he understood the mission, even though he's just like
he's helping through a different way. In this way, he's aligned with the mission and everything. Again, this shows just how clarity is leverage in this case, right?
100%.
Everyone that is working there is working for the same goal, bringing the man to the moon back in the day.
Okay, Mark. Productivity advice is for people without leverage.
100%, because people usually don't start with anything, or just like, it's like, I mean, like motivation porn, right? You just listen to it the entire time and they're like, oh yeah. It's the same thing always. Talking about the thing is not doing the thing. Taking notes about the thing is not doing the thing. And nothing is doing the thing except doing the thing, right? So you just have to actually do the thing and get on with it.
Okay, I have another one. One good decision beats perfect routines.
Because you could. Well, yes and no. Because at the end of the day, you could have already worked on the right thing with a good routine. But if you're working on the wrong thing, a decision to change what you're working on can impact that.
So my point is that habits keep you in the game long enough to win. My point is that, for example, if you have a routine, so maybe every morning I'll go for a morning walk, or I do my Spanish, right? I do every morning my Spanish. This helps me long enough so that I learn Spanish well enough that I'm like, okay, this helps me. But I said that's a bad example. I think that's a bad example, maybe.
Actually, I want to come back to what you said, that productivity advice is good for people without leverage, because one leverage thing that Naval talks about is people. So you have to be more productive yourself. You just need to manage people that do it. So, for example, or you have tools that do it. There's systems, right? You need more productive yourself if you have a better structure and using leverage such as code, AI nowadays to do it. Why am I supposed to be 10 times more productive on a whiteboard if I can just do most of the stuff with AI and automate it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you get more productive if you do your 10-step morning routine. Just do the thing, man.
My question mark, when do habits matter and when do they don't?
Habits matter if you know already where the goal is and which you're going towards, and you're using leverage correctly, focusing on the right thing. Otherwise, it's just
because it's a routine, right? So for me, for example, I agree. For example, okay, that brings me back again with Spanish. I'm coming back to it. I'm making this
Señor
point.
Español.
Exactly. Señor Español. Now we're still learning. I'll speak a little better. Okay. The thing is, in the habit there is, okay, you have a clear goal, so you're working towards it. So it helps you every day, consistency. So even though you're doing every day only 10, 20 minutes, it's much better than doing it once or twice every month, 4 or 5 hours, or every week, 1 or 2 hours. Even though it's the same hours, if you break it down in small habits, it's just like more consistent because it always keeps it up to date. But if you don't have a clear goal where that habit should lead to, may it be, my habit is reading every day the news. Okay. My point.
I'm not sure if that's a good idea, but
my point is, what does it actually help you? If you're, for example, working,
gets you in a bad mood for sure.
Exactly. That's my point. My point is here, when you're reading the news every day, yes, you want to be up to date, but why do you want to be up to date? Are you going to be a news reporter, or is it maybe news just regarding AI news and that might be the case? But if in general news, normally, man, most of them are negative. That's why I don't watch any news. Because if there's a world war that actually breaking out, man, somebody will tell me. But otherwise, it just brings me in a bad mood, and I don't want this. I'd rather.
It's so negative.
Exactly.
It's like, there's a war, that someone got killed.
Because that sells better. It just sells better, and I'd rather just focus on the things that have an impact on, and that actually helps me towards my goal. So I'd rather just yes, I'll read from time to time AI news, etc. Because it's, first of all, it's neutral. In the end, it's what came out, etc. And it helps me because I can use the knowledge to implement it in work or in the podcast right here.
There's this great quote: optimization is fear wearing a suit. And I just had to think about Timmy Boy, our great friend Tim, because he always wants to optimize. For example, he wants to build right now an AI agent, and he wants to do it with Python. And I was like, look, you don't even know how to code. Just do something else. There's no code tools. You can build an agent and then you can do it. It's like, no, it needs to be optimized so I can directly go from here and then sell it B2B. And because they're very focused on privacy. And what happens is that he's tweaking so much and focusing on that he needs to have it perfect right away, that every day he didn't start because it's overwhelming.
And you will never be ready till you actually get started, because that's the thing. When people snowboarding, for example, if you learn snowboarding, you can do as many skateboarding exercises as you want, trying to imagine how it will feel. But in the end, it will be so much different once you're on the mountain, on that slope. You have that snow. You see the hill going down, and you learn so much more in that half an hour, the first half an hour that you're actually doing it, than practicing with a skateboard for a week. It's just it's not the same. You can only, again, just doing the thing is doing the thing.
100%, man. 100% agree. It's just you're planning instead of actually selling what you want to do or doing what you want to do. It's also, what would happen if you embarrass yourself, do working publicly? Man, most of the people that you do publicly in Instagram, TikTok, most people are focused on themselves, man, or on Twitter or whatever.
But
they don't
normal,
even notice,
right?
You. 100%.
It's normal. I think that's one of these insights that just really helped me over the past whatever decade, whatever, is like that insight that, man, people don't even notice you. They're so focused on themselves. Look, if people barely notice once you win big, then do you think they actually pay attention when it not happens? Because like your fear of failing should not matter, because nobody, or being embarrassed that you failed, because nobody pays attention to it. Because exactly, they barely pay attention when you win big. So don't worry about it too much. Most people only think one step ahead. So second order effects decide everything. And what I mean by that is short-term gains destroy long-term goal, like trust. Also long-term thinking. We've been there ourselves in the last 2 years. We finished with one project at one company, and because our CTO had a burnout, and then we had to look for a new one. But the thing is, because we had to close down the company, we only had revenue for the next month. Or
barely. No. We had to lend. We gotta lend money.
Exactly. So we had
to,
and our older brother. Let's be real here.
No. But I'm saying, like, we always only had to think about the next month. How we gonna pay for rent the next month. So at the end of the day, so we had to do short term thinking. We always focus on projects that were like, look, this could right away could give us money, etc. But it didn't focus on the long term.
100%. That, I mean, we kind of knew it, but at the same time, is like, what was our choice? I mean, we could have maybe raised money, etc. But in the end, that makes a huge difference. Once you get, for example, this is a big differentiator that we have now with Hook Talk, with our new project, because after we sold Mausi Papacito, we now have at least 6 months of runway that actually helps us. So we can just like, okay, we'll take our time. Take our time, of course. Like, I mean, at least we don't have to think about, okay, next month. We can say, okay, this project is a little bit more complicated, but we can directly talk to our users. We don't have to make money after the 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, because
we don't have to burn so much money on ads right away. It's like, even though
the
product is not ready, you're like, yeah, you can get early customer feedback in, but you don't have to break an arm and a leg just to make it work. In terms of, you focus on the development and get user feedback, but you don't have to directly be like, scale. We need to find a way to scale this. No, just go slow, get the customer feedback in, the early adopters, and then you improve, because there are going to be early adopters and they have different standards to the the early majority.
100%. Like niching down there and then really just getting the customer feedback in, instead of just like, okay, next. Because I mean, over the last 2 years, we had like 3 different projects or 4.
So I mean, we're giving advice now to just solo founders or dualpreneurs. They're doing with friends. So, but there's also things that people should consider in that regard. Is if you have you need employees eventually, and hiring fast versus hiring right. We did that mistake multiple times. We're just like, oh my God. Our CTO was like, look, we need support right away. We need to find someone. So we reached out. I guess we didn't use the right channels. We did not get the right guys that we hired properly. And we should have fired them also faster. Like, if there's a doubt, there's no doubt. So if you have a doubt about one of your employees, just fire them. Honestly, best thing that we learned, it's about that. Also set the standards right away.
Hire slow, fire fast.
Exactly. That's the thing. So I think this is something really, really important. And so you need to keep in mind. So the summary of this is play long-term games with long-term focused people.
100%. All right, Mark, you don't have a motivation problem. You have a leverage problem.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, I can start. I think that motivation gets you started, but system keep you going. That's like, for example, that's why you have
discipline.
Yes, which is a system in the end. So you have, for example, a system in this case, for example, for us or for me, in the morning, first thing I do, I shower, and then I do my Spanish, go for a walk. That's a system. It's just like every day the same thing. Same with gym.
It's a routine.
Yes, but which is a system kind of,
I guess.
So for example, every time before going out, some people put sunscreen on. So they put the sunscreen next to directly the door or whatever. My point is that motivation gets you started, but in the end, the only thing that keeps you there is a system, like, or a routine, habit, however you want to call it. And that's very, very important, because in the end, like, motivation right now, if you go to the gym, you have these typical New Year's resolutions people who just like they're in the gym in January, gym is super full, but in a month or two they will be all gone, because Actually, Mark,
well, this is the thing. This is the thing I think most people don't understand is even people that seem very have high motivation. Motivation is not, trust me, motivation is not always there. I am very motivated and to go to the gym, but sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go to the gym. And why is that? Because motivation comes and goes, but discipline is there because you force yourself to actually go even though you don't want to. You sometimes have to do things you don't have to. Actually, this reminds me of a cool thing. I think last year I listened to a podcast and it said, look, guys, you can use all kind of emotions in a specific way. So, for example, if you're excited, this is very great for some kind of work, types of work. If you want to learn something new, etc., you can do this. If you feel like you have absolutely no energy and just feel tired and nothing, like everything seems gray, this is great for tasks that just you don't need to think a lot. It's just like mind numbing tasks, like you copy paste and all that stuff. I've used this a lot of times and this is fantastic. 100% would guarantee, like recommend it to anyone because also at the gym, you don't feel like going, but because everything is great, just go there. Honestly, the pain of doing the exercises feels half of the pain because you're like, everything is great anyways. Fucking do it. Let's go.
Also, at the same time, you have to think about the long-term reward, right? So, for example, how you feel after the gym, man, the endorphins, ooh, baby.
Well, yeah, this is a different thing.
We've been already working out for like 15
That's not
years.
a long-term thing. That's a short-term treat.
We've been already working out 16 years. Damn, my boy.
We're getting old.
Yeah. And like one of the things that we always have like is the shake after the gym, right? So you got to celebrate, quick cheers, good workout, and then like the protein shake
and a quick
so
posing
good.
session. Like, oof, because if you don't pose, you don't get the gains. That's how it works. Or at least you get double gains if you pose.
That's actually not true, but it helps you to at least see your progress and also see like where you
not true.
Where you might have not deficiencies, but like where you can still work out a little bit to get like better symmetry. So I think that's very, very helpful for that point.
Most people are probably not going to focus on that, but hey, everyone has different priorities here, right? I like it. It's really nice. It's cool. Makes you feel good about yourself.
100%. Okay, Mark. That just reminded me because I wanted to say that earlier. When you're creating a habit or something like this, you always, when you want to pick something up, you always have to put something down. That means like, because people in New Year's resolution, they always put so much on their plate.
That's what you mean. Okay.
They put so much on their plate and they think like now they can just, their stomach can handle it. They have so much energy, they will be able to do all of this. But the problem is like, you have just a finite amount of energy. And if you are putting too much on your plate, it's not going to work. So may it be, for example, if you want to go in the morning for your morning walk, man, you will not be able to sleep in. So basically you have to say, because you know you have to start working at 9, so that's a fixed time. So now you only have the hour before. This also has an impact on when to go to bed, right? Because you want to be rested. If you don't sleep your 8 hours, your entire day is going to be shit.
Well, this varies per person.
Or 7, whatever's the perfect amount of time for you to feel rested. For me, it's like 7.5 to 8 hours. But my point is, you always have to drop something. Same with like if you say, okay, I'm right now in founder mode or monk mode, whatever you want to call it, and just like focus on like, I want to get the startup going. Then you have to like see, okay, that means I'm working on weekends. If that means I'm working on weekends,
I'm working during the night.
Same in the night. It just means like, okay, I cannot see my friends. I'm not going to the parties because when I party the day, I'm like fucked for 2 days. Stuff like this, I think it's like very important to always keep in mind, and you have to make sure it is worth it for you. Maybe short-term pain for long-term like gain. So I think that's like one of the things that's very, very important and you should be always aware of. At the same time, if you're sacrificing too much in the short term, like, what feels like a sacrifice for you, right? Like, and you never get like for the long-term gratification, there's also a risk. Like most people honestly don't fall in the category, but some founders do. They're always just like, no, I just have to reach this stage and I have to reach this stage to be happy. And I think that you should enjoy the way, right?
The journey.
Yeah, the journey is the way, or journey is the goal. I think that's how you say that. But it's so true, because in the end, it's like Mark and I like try to enjoy every day. Like even though man, sometimes you have these days. We also had days where it's super unproductive, but well, at least it's how it felt like, right? But then I keep reminding it again. Like we have our parents, we had our parents here, their dogs. So you see them and it just makes you happy, right? So you celebrate the small things. Maybe just like, okay, I just played with the black Labrador, which actually is over here, as you can see. And if that makes you happy, man, celebrate the small victories or the small moments, because life is all a combination of all these small moments together.
So hard work is overrated if you're focusing on the wrong thing, if you're not using leverage correctly, and you're probably over optimizing a few things that have absolutely no leverage on the outcome of your business.
I actually want to talk about another one, last one. The bottleneck is always leverage.
Yeah.
So I'll give you 3 bottlenecks, okay? The one is a sales bottleneck, a skill bottleneck, and a confidence bottleneck. So start off with a sales bottleneck. So for example, a good sales bottleneck would be you have the product, you have a lot of products, but you can't get the distribution right. So if distribution is not there, it doesn't matter if you have a million of your products, but if nobody sees it or wants to buy it, it's an issue. So that's a bottleneck. Once you fix that, you will scale so much more, right? So you can 10x, 20x your revenue just by solving that sales bottleneck. Another thing is skills bottleneck. So in the skills bottleneck, it's in the end, if you want to build a product, for let's say, for example, a physical product, but you have no idea how to build this physical product, then you're the bottleneck. The skill that you're missing is the bottleneck from you. Because if you have a distribution but can't build the product, now how you can solve this is actually, if you're an influencer, for example, partnering with people who built this product or can build this product. Either if it needs to be built in high quality and you can't just drop ship it, but you really want to develop it, you can be basically a co-founder, right? Because you are what do we call that? We call that the content co-founder, or
no, we called it different. We called it.
It's basically but it's basically, or the new CMO, the new chief marketing officer, which is the influencer. Because in the end, if they have already the distribution, the only thing that I'm missing is the product itself, which makes a huge difference. So that's also one of the things. If you're listening and you want to build a product, but you have the distribution already, but can't build a product, why not partner up with somebody, become co-founders, so you also get a share.
Audience co-founder.
Yes, exactly. That makes sense. Well, audience co-founder makes total sense. Try to partner up, get equity. If this company is already established, you might not get 50-50, obviously. But we've seen it all around the globe. Like, for example, MKBHD. I'm always like,
say Marquez.
Just Marquez
Brownlee.
I mean, he did the same. The audience co-founder with Rigid, with the wallets. I mean, they are Rich,
not Rigid. Yeah,
Rich wallet. I mean, they already were making hundreds of millions in revenue, but still he became their audience co-founder, or at least part owner there, because he has so much distribution, because he has so many, the niche is very people who watch tech have a lot of money, or tend to have money that they can spend, and they tend to be normally men that watch his channel, and that just makes sense for the audience.
Okay, Lucas, do you have any closing argument or closing advice for the audience?
No, we haven't talked about confidence bottleneck yet. Because that's
go hit it, bro.
All right, confidence bottleneck. What is a confidence bottleneck? For me, a confidence bottleneck is if you have everything ready to go, but you're not sure whether it's the right decision. And in this case, this is a bottleneck, because this might.
But are you going to be sure about your decision always on 100%?
No, that's my point. For example, you only need to be 51% sure that this is the right decision to make the decision based on you never have 100% decision. That's the thing. If you believe that's more likely that's the right decision, you should take that decision. You will never.
I'm very confident in my decisions. I'm 100% sure.
That's the thing. You will never be 100% sure, but that's my point is if you are confident enough, like the same with Federer.
Roger Federer.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, it's different though.
But the thing is, like, he's one of the best tennis players of. He's a goat of the goat of tennis, right?
Well, there's 3 goats actually.
Yeah, but he's one of the goats of tennis. And just think about right now, how many matches do you think he won?
No, the question is how many points.
No. I think that was like close to like 70 or 80%. Yeah, percent of the matches that he won. And now think about how many of points did he win per each match? And I think it's like 54, 55.
54%.
So it's like barely a little bit more than half, and he became a GOAT, or he is a GOAT, because that makes a huge difference. That few percentage points. The same with like certainty of certain decisions. If you are making a little bit more than half of your decisions are the correct decisions, man, can have a huge leverage. For example, if you then use also the size of how you support that decision. For example, in
leverage.
Yeah, the leverage. Because yesterday, for example, I listened to investments, or basically how investment funds. Which podcast? I think that was in My First Million, or was it on Diary of a CEO? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But one of the points was that it doesn't. You will never make always the right decisions, but it's not the question of whether you made the right decision, but it's also about how big the ticket size, right? It's not about whether you got the right, but it's all about proportion. Because in the end, if you bet right once, but only have the same amount of money in the other ones, it might not be the same. But if you put in 10x more in the right decision,
again, it's leverage.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
It's at the end of the day, it comes down to the confidence bottleneck, as well as the amount of leverage you use in that bottleneck. Once you make a decision that you have higher percentage and conviction, it's about conviction. Use your resources to make it unproportionately more effective and greater.
100% agree. All right, everybody. I think that's the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. And of course, catch you next one. Peace.